Welcome to U.S. News Source Channel. Ukrainian armed forces bombarded Russian military points on the Crimea front. Russian troops in the region have no place to escape. Operations launched on the critical front began to yield results. Ukrainian army launched a counterattack on this front and continues its struggle. According to the breaking news, the Ukrainian army carried out a bombardment on the south side of this Crimea region. Moreover, these moves were reported to have been carried out for the first time by the South. One of the main reasons for these moves is to increase the damage with accurate moves and to facilitate the progress towards the region. It is known that this front is very important for both countries. If the Ukrainian army can maintain dominance on this line, the logistics flow of Russian troops on the eastern front will be almost completely cut off. This will cause Russia to face major defeats in Donbass. Moreover, after the Ukrainian army increased its operations around this Crimea, the situation for the Russian soldiers began to worsen. It is thought that the Ukrainian armed forces approached this front from the northwest and aimed to break the defense line of the Russian soldiers. To this end, various attacks and reconnaissance are still being carried out on the front. Any advance in these areas will now determine the course of the battle. At the same time, Moscow, which lost many of its military equipment and experienced soldiers months ago, continues to try its luck in Donbass. It is known that mutual attacks have increased considerably, especially in the Bakhmut region in Donetsk. This area is described as the gray zone and the violence of the war is increasing day by day. Again, a drone recorded the clashes between the two armies in the region. According to the shared images, violent clashes continue to take place in the critical area to the east of this Bakhmut district. Moreover, it was reported that the armies established many defense lines in the region and there were intense attacks. As a result of the operations, explosions echoed from many Russian military equipment and flames rose. According to the statements, the number of shots in artillery and mortar attacks on this front now reaches 2,000. Both armies began to get more and more difficult. It was reported that mutual tank and aircraft attacks continued. However, it is known that mostly Russian soldiers have more difficulties. Moreover, it is known that Moscow suffered its greatest losses mostly in this region. We can say that Russian soldiers, who lost many of their military equipment to the Ukrainian army, are shot with their own weapons. While this increases the attack power of the Ukrainian troops, it significantly reduces the operational power of Russia. However, as both armies reach additional military support in the region, the intensity of mutual attacks increases and it becomes much more difficult to dominate the region. This causes the losses to increase. However, it is also known that Russia paid a great price for this region. Moscow, which has been carrying out operations in this Bakhmut region for months, cannot achieve the desired success. This causes the casualties to reach more serious dimensions and all the efforts in the conflicts that have been going on for months are wasted. Simultaneous operations on other fronts are being increased and continued. Ukrainian armed forces launched HIMARS operations against the key region of Donbass. In Snizhny, a key region in Donetsk, critical Russian military points were subjected to heavy bombardment. It was reported that this bombardment was carried out with HIMARS missile systems accurately. After this effective move of the Ukrainian army, many Russian military points and equipment were seriously damaged. After the moves, explosions occurred one after another. With each passing day, many Russian military equipment also burst into flames. This increases Russia's losses even more. Hundreds of Russian soldiers are neutralized and many military equipment is destroyed. It has been reported that HIMARS operations have also been launched in the Snizhny region, another key region. This is the second move of Ukrainian troops to this region in a week. It was stated that M30 and M31 missiles were used in the attack, as before. At the same time, it was announced that it was carried out using the HIMARS missile system and from a range of approximately 90 kilometers. As a result of this powerful move, it was stated that the targets that reached were damaged quite a lot. It is known that these missile systems were sent to the United States months ago for support purposes. It is also known that missile systems provide a serious advantage for Ukraine in the war and affect the course of the war. These systems, which are both very effective and powerful due to their characteristics and difficult to detect, cannot be destroyed. This situation causes Russia to have more difficulties and to increase its losses. Due to the superior success of the Ukrainian armed forces and the various features of such systems, we can say that the war is advancing in favor of Ukraine on many fronts. At the same time, the severity of the operations is increasing on the Zaporizhzhia front, which is also a critical area. It has been reported that the Ukrainian army carried out intense activities in the middle and northwest sides of the Zaporizhzhia front, which is a risky area. As it is known, the Ukrainian army was expected to launch major operations on this front. Then action was taken immediately. As a result of the recapture of critical areas after the successes on the southern front, the Ukrainian troops advanced east and launched new operations on the southeast and northeast fronts. Still progress continues. The Ukrainian armed forces, which make a very strategic and versatile advance, can carry out a major siege operation against the Russian soldiers between these fronts at any time. Moreover, since effective operations continue on the eastern front, the Russian soldiers are not given the opportunity to carry out a possible attack and advance. On the contrary, many Russian military areas on the fronts are either neutralized or captured. Russian army, which has lost important military points one by one, cannot reach it even though it needs new equipment and ammunition. This is not possible due to the Ukrainian army's operations at many Russian logistics points. Since the Russian soldiers, who cannot reach the sufficient equipment, also experience a decrease in their attack and operation power, they have to face bigger defeats instead of being successful. It was reported that the Ukrainian army also took action against many regions such as Burcha, Mykolovka and Valievka, located in the northwest of this front. It is presumed that the Ukrainian armed forces are now prioritizing these areas. It is seen as a very difficult possibility for the Russian troops to achieve success due to the fact that the Ukrainian soldiers are advancing more and more effectively and simultaneously on the fronts. These situations will cause Russia to suffer serious losses. At the same time, Ukraine, sending additional troops and equipment to this Zaporizhzhia front, can take back this whole area at any time. It is also known that Russia has been stationed in this risky region for a long time. It is even known that Europe's largest nuclear power plant is located in the risky region it chose to be deployed. If an operation is started against the Russian soldiers stationed in this risky area since the beginning of the war, the soldiers in the region will have to leave the facility. This will cause soldiers to become clear targets. Russian forces, which have turned the region's risky advantage into an advantage for months, will not want to withdraw from the region as it may be an open target. However, there is great pressure against these soldiers. This pressure also comes from many countries, other than Ukraine. Reason is that the region is risky and moves are dangerous. Moscow was subject to sanctions from many countries just because it was stationed in this region. In fact, the economy was also affected by this issue. Despite this, the Russian soldiers stationed in the region may no longer have a choice. As a result of the operations initiated by the Ukrainian army, it will be more and more difficult. This may cause the situation on the front to be irreparable for Russia. If the Ukrainian armed forces continue their successful operations in time, the Russian side will run out of solutions. At the same time, Russia, on the other hand, will enter an irreversible path in the war if it continues its wrong moves, which it has not achieved any more success. In the future, we will be able to see more clearly how the events will develop and in what direction the steps will be taken. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.